What's up guys, Nintendo64 here, and welcome back to the ranking of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate stages. Today, for our penultimate video of this mini-series, we are going to be ranking the stages that are exclusive to Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Wii U, as well as the 4 DLC stages that are shared between both versions of Smash 4. So, we're going to begin with one of the earliest stages in Smash Ultimate's stage list. This is Big Battlefield. Right off the gate, I'm putting it in C tier, directly underneath its predecessor at the very least, because it's literally just a scaled-up battlefield with extra platforms, and that's it. That's how forgettable this stage is. And in fact, it's so forgettable that we forgot to play it until a fourth of the way into our B-roll recording. Now, it's important to bear in mind, obviously, that Big Battlefield is really only meant for 5 to 8 players, which the 4 of us together do not make up that amount. And personally, I don't think 4 players really works well for Big Battlefield. But given the fact that I rarely play Big Battlefield with that amount of players, I don't know, it's just kind of meh. But then again, I barely even play on Big Battlefield to begin with, ever, so yeah, C tier for me.
I mean, it's not much to say, it's literally just a bigger version of Battlefield. Yeah, I guess same rank, since not too different, it's literally just bigger. But, you know what they say, bigger's better, and I'd say this is better for more players. But yeah, that's all I gotta say.
This is literally just the exact same as the original, but bigger, and I don't really have much to say other than that. It's exactly the same, so I'm just gonna throw it in C tier and just move on.
Yeah, the name tells you everything you need to know about the stage. Where did we rank normal Battlefield, by the way? Like C tier?
It's right here in C tier, yeah.
I'd put it one spot above Battlefield, just because I feel like I personally prefer stages that are a little bit bigger.
Jordan, Michael, do you guys feel that way too?
Yeah, like Prism just said, it's literally just the normal Battlefield, but bigger and a little better because, you know, like you guys said, bigger, the bigger the better, I guess.
Okay.
That's it.
I just thought I'd ask because personally I don't like it as much as normal Battlefield, so that's why I was asking. But for your guys' sake, I'll still put it above the normal Battlefield. Anyway, now we actually get into the stages here, the ones that like aren't just straight up Battlefield. First up, we have Mushroom Kingdom U, which I'm immediately going to throw into high A tier. And yes, there's a little bit of Mario bias in there. So, first things first, there are 4 different level areas that this stage cycles between, which are Acorn Plains, Rock Candy Mines, Marine Clouds, and Slide Lift Tower, which is the tower level for Marine Clouds. Which, I think it's pretty cool, while we're on this specific point, that Kamek is the one that changes the stage to the different areas with his magic. And also that there are different set pieces from other level themes that show up on occasion for these areas. There's the Beanstalk from that level in Sparkling Waters, the Icicles from Frosted Glacier, and by extension, Mario Wii's Third World. And also some Water Geysers from Sparkling Waters, which sometimes have giant urchins. Also some stretch blocks, and the platforms that appear in Roy's airship fight. And also, for good measure, Nabbit can show up to try and beetle you to death, which, if you don't know what that means, if you're a player that never has items on, the beetle item, if you get grabbed by it, you're basically sent all the way to the top blast zone and you're dead. Unless you're able to break out, which you can break out of Nabbit's bag if you get caught at a lower percentage, but you have to be really quick at button mashing to do that. But also, I think it's funny and also kind of nice at the same time that you can just smack him before he even attempts to grab you, and you can kill him, kind of like an assist trophy. I think aesthetically, this stage looks quite fantastic. The graphics of Mario U look relatively nice when they're actually modeled and not just textured. As for criticisms, I can't say that I'm not a big fan of the platform of the tower, because it can be a small platform for a moment sometimes when the 2 parts are sliding underneath each other. Plus, it can push you off when you're on the lower slide lift when that's happening. And also, depending on your personal taste, some of the hazards can also make or break your fight. So, overall, I give the stage a high A tier. Not really perfect, but I still enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I think I'm also probably going to have some bias for this one since, well, I do happen to be a big fan of Super Mario Bros. U, and yes, I do kind of like it a bit more than Mario Bros. Wii. Nothing against it, just, again, a bit more nostalgia bias, but yeah, I'd say this one's pretty well laid out. I feel like the stage transformations are pretty evenly timed. Yeah, and I guess I could say the castle section is probably the worst of them, in my opinion, though, since it's just not as great as the others. But honestly, I am at least glad that Mario U got some representation here, since I feel like it constantly gets overshadowed by Mario Bros. Wii. Which, I mean, again, I understand, but again, I just tend to like Mario U a bit more. So, other than that, I'd definitely give it an A. Definitely just pretty well laid out, really nice stage, and again, a good contribute to one of my favorite Mario games.
Yeah, like Jordan said, I think this stage is really good, and like I said, maybe it's because I like Mario U a lot, like Jordan, but more than Mario U or Mario Wii. Sorry. All four of the stages or that happens in it are pretty good, except for the tower one. I actually hated that one. Maybe I'm just not very good at it because I just find it kind of annoying. Like one of the levels in New Super Mario Bros. Wii that you had to deal with that. I always hated that level, and I didn't like it in this stage. So that's really my only criticism with that. But other than that, the rest of it are actually pretty good. I really enjoyed the stage a lot. Nabbit can be a bit annoying to deal with, but like Alex said, you can get away with it and even kill him before he even gets to you. So yeah, I'm going to give this one a solid A. Maybe it's like Mario bias and New Super Mario Bros. U bias, but I actually really like the stage. So A tier.
Yeah, I'm also a big fan of this stage. I feel like not only is it cool to have a Mario U stage, but unlike other themed stages, I feel like this one has plenty of space to fight on. Like, even the smallest platforms are good enough size to actually have multiple people on them. I do like how the things come in, like the icicles or the fountains. The only area I don't really like, I'm with Jordan Michael here. I feel like the castle stage is the most annoying part. Can you grab on the edges of the spinning platform? I don't think you can. Right?
I want to say you can grab the ledges of the slide lift, but I'm not entirely sure on that.
I remember multiple times I tried to grab the edge and ended up dying. I think that's one of the reasons I don't like it. It's just harder to get back up on the stage if you get knocked off. But I do think this stage deserves an A tier. It's just always very fun to fight on.
Mm-hmm. All right, so actually, would you guys rank it higher than where I have it right now?
No, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay. But yeah, like I'm definitely like I said, like the only main criticism I have is the slide lift tower stage is kind of annoying as hell. But also bear in mind that
we all agree with that.
Yeah. But also yes, New Super Mario Bros. Wii is still my favorite of the New Super Mario Bros. Games, but not even factoring that, I still really like the New Super Mario Bros. U stage. Which I think it's funny that for Smash Wii U's, Smash 4's sake in general, that both versions have a stage that comes from the New Super Mario Bros. Games that came out in literally the same exact year of 2012.
Yeah, I always find it funny as well.
Mm-hmm. But also, even then, considering the fact that admittedly the graphics of New Super Mario Bros. U are a million times better than Mario Wii's 9 out of 10 times. Again, it still looks really nice when it's modeled and not textured. Anyway, our next stage to talk about is Mario Galaxy. And it's a weird one to talk about because it's basically a glorified rectangle stage akin to Bridge of Eldin in Living Room, complete with the ability to walk off and possibly abuse the blast zone, which I'm not going to reiterate that whole thing that I've said before about that. But I think the fact that they changed it up visually to be a bit spherical is kind of interesting. Although, I believe there are some specific horizontal attacks that don't curve along with this stage, which, depending on the situation, can be hit or miss. Also, the two platforms that are on the sides don't really add much to this stage, if I'm being honest. They're just there, and that's it. Honestly, if it weren't for the visuals and aesthetics, this stage would be ranked next to Bridge of Eldin and Living Room in C tier. But the fact that it's Gateway Galaxy, alongside how we can see one of Bowser's airships, we can see Starship Mario, one of the planets from, I believe, Sky Station Galaxy, what looks like the ending planet of Cosmic Cove Galaxy's second mission, and the planetoid on the far right of the screen that's kind of cut off, which, in the B-roll recording, we weren't exactly sure which of the Piranha boss fights of the Galaxy games that planetoid comes from. But after looking it up, that planetoid is actually almost exactly the same in both fights. But anyway, all those visual elements carry the stage up to a low B tier for me.
Okay, I will say this one's definitely an interesting way to represent Mario Galaxy mainly because it seems like it's kind of representing both Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2, since the background contains both the ship from Galaxy 1 and then the Mario head ship from Galaxy 2, which... honestly, that made me really like the stage a lot more, since it's not just representing one game, it's representing both. I feel like its curving problem can kind of... like, some projectiles will kind of, like, bend along with the stage to kind of straighten it out still, but some of them just won't. Like, the staff won't. I guess I'll give it top of B, since I do like it, especially since it does reference Mario Galaxy, but I feel like for a stage it is just pretty fine. But yeah, I guess that's all I can say about it.
I actually kind of like this stage. It does reference both Mario Galaxy 1 and Mario Galaxy 2 at the same time, with obviously the most part of the stage being that we're fighting on from the first game, and the Starship Mario appears every once in a while. Maybe I'm being too generous on this stage because I like both Mario Galaxy games, especially Galaxy 2. But I always find this stage to be fun to fight on. It may not be the best stage, but Mario Galaxy 2 bias for me is why I'm being kind of generous on the stage compared to like most people probably would give it. And I also like the background of it. I think it looks beautiful. The airship, the outer space, the house down there, trees. Like, there's a lot of things I really like about it. So I'm gonna give it a low A tier.
I don't know. I just think this stage is missed potential, honestly. Like, there's so much cool stuff he could have done with a Mario Galaxy stage, and it's just a curved planet. One thing I do like, though, is that even though the planet's curved, it doesn't have the same slope issues that the other stages have, because, I don't know, it just feels like instead of, like, flat gravity on a round sphere, it's, like, round gravity, so you, like, projectiles follow the planet and stuff. It's, I don't know, it's just not as annoying as other curved stages, which I like, but I don't know, I feel like this one's kind of boring despite all the references. Like, also, how is there not the Comet Observatory? Isn't that like one of the most iconic things from both Mario Galaxy games?
Well, now that you mention,
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
I don't know, just the stage is cool, but I don't know, I just feel like there's so much more they could have done. I'd put it in C, honestly.
Honestly, if I could change my ranking, actually, maybe I might just put it below B, or bottom of B for me, since you did actually kind of make a good point there. It is kind of wasted potential.
Yeah. I didn't even think about the point about the the Comet Observatory being gone. When that is basically the most iconic element of Galaxy games.
Yeah, like it made it into 3D World, but not Smash Bros. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you got me with that one. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah. I feel like the average would probably be in the original placement. Well, actually, no. I had it above Mushroom King 2. I'll just keep it at the bottom of B tier, I guess. Alright. Next up, we have Mario Circuit, which is the resident circuit of Mario Kart 8. And in this game's case, in Smash Bros. Case, it is the next iteration of a traveling stage that we have, and much like with Mario Kart 7's Rainbow Road being in Smash 3DS, it works pretty well. Although, I do admit that the circuits aren't as interesting as the Rainbow Road, so that's docked some points against this stage, which especially hurts because 3DS Rainbow Road did not return as a stage in Smash Ultimate, which still pains me to this day. Some of the areas that we go to in the stage don't have as much of the same quality as, say, Delfino Plaza. Especially, there's one area in particular where the track is upside down directly above you, and if you try to hit someone upwards, they just bounce back down, which you could use that to your advantage to, basically, lock them in position so you can, hit them once and then make them bounce back down, and then you can effectively kill them to the sides. That just depends on the person's taste, I guess. Personally, of the areas that we traveled to, I think the one with the starting line and the banner is my favorite, especially because they, for some reason, gave the banner a platform to fight on. And also, I'm not entirely sure if this is true or not, but I feel like that area isn't actually a walk-off, even though it looks like it should be with how close the camera is. I also find it funny that they still have Shy Guys as the resident racer here, although I honestly wish they gave the Shy Guys in multiple colors in the Jump to Ultimate, since they did add Shy Guys' other colors in Mario Kart 8's DLC, as well as in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which both had come out before Ultimate release, and they basically came out while Ultimate was in development, effectively. So I don't have much else to say, though I personally like it more than the Figure 8 Circuit stage, at least compared to these guys, I think. And that Figure 8 Circuit stage, I gave the second lowest B. So Mario Circuit here is definitely getting a higher rank. I think I'm going to give it, middle B. I'm going to put it, just straight middle B.
It's kind of a hard one to rank, actually. Like, on one hand, I would say it's a bit more interesting than the previous Mario Kart stage, since it does actually kind of like scroll around the place rather than just being like just in one spot. But on the other hand, I feel like some of these are really easy to die from. Like, I don't remember if it was me, but I know one of us had like a section where like we just got killed as the stage was just scrolling and just got KO'd immediately. I mean, like, I could see how it can have some of the kind of chaotic fun that the other, I forgot what the other one was called. Like
Mario Circuit.
Figure Circuit.
It was the other racing track that was. I think I'm talking about the one in Brawl.
It has to be Port Town Aero Dive. It has to be Port Town Aero Dive.
It's kind of like that one, but not as good, since it's sometimes it can be kind of cramped. And also, just main thing, I feel like we definitely should have just done the other Mario Circuit from 8, since I feel like that one's a bit more iconic and, in my opinion, just a bit more interesting.
Oh, Mario Kart Stadium?
If that's like the first
yes
track in the whole game, then yeah. I would have definitely preferred that one over this one. But I guess other than that, I guess it's just fine. So, I'll give it a C tier. Like, it's fine, but not as good.
Honestly, I'm not much of a fan of this stage. Like, look, I understand why some people may like this stage because it's chaotic and because it's Mario Kart and all that stuff, but I have a lot of problems with this stage. Like, first of all, maybe I'm just not very good at this stage, but I feel like I just die from trying this stage like over and over again, like no matter how hard I tried. The top is like extremely annoying to deal with, especially if you're near the top and you get a recovery and it bumps you and stuff. It's just kind of like easier to die on, in my opinion. And I personally think that Figure 8 Circuit is better. Now, I will admit that stage isn't perfect either. Like, it does have flaws, but I also find it more chaotic and fun in that one than this one. So, yeah, I just don't have much to say about this stage. I'm not really a big fan of it, so I'm just gonna... It's not the worst stage, like, I'll admit, but it's really not that great. I'll give it a B tier.
Honestly, I think this one is better than the other Mario Kart stage. I do agree with Michael that the other Mario Kart stage is more fair to fight on, but I don't know, I feel like the other one's just kind of boring compared to this one. Like, this one you actually get to, like, fly around the track and interact with it in different spots. But I do agree with the track at the top being kind of BS at times. I've certainly died to that more than I'd like to admit, but I don't know, I just feel like this track overall is more fun to fight on. I'd put it in, like, near the bottom of B.
Yeah, I'll give it the sixth slot down on C tier. I guess it is kind of harsh that, well, or I guess unfortunate that Mario Circuit is a lot farther away than Figure 8 Circuit, but I guess that's probably how some people feel about the stages, because the Figure 8 Circuit stage is definitely a lot better than its the original version that it's based on. Now, I don't know, I scrolled there. From one traveling stage to another, we are now talking about Skyloft. Now, from the get-go, it is pretty cool to have the entire main locale of Skyward Sword be a stage, which, I mean, it makes sense because it's the most recent main Zelda game when Smash 4 came out. But I feel like the execution of the traveling stage gimmick could be so much better here, though. Because, like, the main platform is another one that can be jumped through from underneath to save yourself, kind of like Delphina Plaza, which is nice. But the semi-solid platforms above it change every time they reappear when it starts flying again. And some of those can be annoying, especially I think there's one where it's a tilted semi-solid platform that literally covers the entire main one. And also, when you're flying around, it's possible to get smacked by the surroundings, like the underside rock formations, if the flying platform is close to them. And we kind of found that out the hard way in the B-roll, because I don't think I knew that that was a thing that could happen on this stage. And also, on top of that, some of the areas that we go to aren't quite the best for fighting. Like, there's an area with a windmill and some random nest thing, I guess. Not to mention, also, on top of that, we barely get time to understand these areas at all because we aren't in them for that long. I feel like we're only on there for, like, 20 seconds at most. I probably like this stage a bit more if I was more into Zelda like Prism is, but even then it wouldn't be saying much because it is Skyward Sword. But, I don't know. I think we're just going to get this a low B. Lowest B, actually.
Yeah, I don't know if I really have much to say about it. I mean, I definitely think it looks pretty. I do think it looks cool. I do think the locations that it stops by, the platforming is pretty good. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about it, but honestly, it's definitely not a bad stage to fight on, in my opinion. So I'd probably give it just a B in general. I do think it's pretty solid to fight on.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about the stage. I mean, it looks pretty cool, but it's just like, I don't remember the stage really existing too much. Like, even when we like played it, I'm like, what is this stage? Like, I don't remember it at all. And then after I played it, I completely forgot we even played it at all. I mean, it's not bad to fight on, but I just don't find it really that memorable. I'm just gonna throw in C tier. Kind of upper C tier, but like not really that memorable either.
Yeah, I wish this stage was better than it was. Skyward Sword's my favorite Zelda game, so it's kind of disappointing that Skyloft is like great, but it's a cool traveling stage. I like that we get to see all around Skyloft, but I'm kind of surprised that like there's some areas we don't go to, like just around the base of the island. We don't go to like the goddess statue or anything, which is kind of surprising. Also, yeah, we don't, compared to some of the other traveling stages, we barely stay at the locations. It feels like during a match, like you're there for like 2 seconds and then you're immediately warping away. Honestly, I'm gonna put this in B tier, although I wish it was higher.
I think where I have it now is probably the average ranking. By the way, in case it's not obvious right now, audience, my brother is, well, he's been in the background for like most of these tier list recordings so far, but this time he's in an extra bad mood for this first half of the video, and you guys are just gonna have to deal with it. So yeah, just wanted to let you guys know because he is getting a little bit progressively louder. All right. Anyway, we now move on to one of the most infamous stages in Smash Bros. This is the Great Cave Offensive. First and foremost, this is one of, if not the largest stage in Smash Bros. History. At least for stages that are primarily stationary. Because, like, if we were to count any of the traveling stages, technically those would be bigger than this one. But for these type of stages, this one's probably the biggest. And also, because of that, they added a crap ton of hazards in the form of lava and spikes that will kill you instantly at 100% minimum damage, which is honestly nice, except for when people are able to lock you in position after you stop bouncing up and down into a bit of lava and basically kill you in a matter of seconds. I can definitely say that I think they captured the aesthetics of the areas from the original Great Cave Offensive mode in Superstar quite nicely, especially when you're zoomed in up and close to some of the things in the background. And actually, I came to the realization while I was doing a little bit of research for some of these stages that all 4 of the regions in the Great Cave Offensive stage are actually correctly laid out from the original mode. Like, you have like the grass tree area in that spans the top left up to the middle, and then you have whatever that crystal area on the right, and then the bottom middle has the the castle, which that's probably like the one like drawback from that specific aspect, because the castle for whatever reason stretches all the way up to the top of the stage, but that's just kind of a nitpick. It's also nice that, like, while that's subject to the camera zooming in or whatever, it's nice that the camera even does that when the characters or the fighters get close to each other, unlike in Stinky 75M, which shows the whole stage at once. Because if they did commit to that for the Great Cave Offensive, it would be such a headache, to be honest. Although a main problem with that is that everyone would have to agree to stay close to keep it from zooming out, which that didn't exactly happen consistently when we played in the B-roll, Michael. That's also another point, kind of. The overall layout of the stage is as bonkers as the hammer enemy from Kirby of the same name, because there are barely any areas that are really suitable for fighting, and also on top of that, the minecarts and the cannons can lead to your demise if you're not careful with them. To be honest though, despite these criticisms, I'm still going to put the stage at the top of D. I know it's a hot take, but I would actually rather play Great Cave Offensive over all of the other stages that we have in D and F tier so far. And mind you, I'm not factoring any Kirby bias here because, honestly, I don't get Kirby bias from this stage or the original mode itself, despite the fact that I played the mode a couple of times, kind of like the Halberd, or the Revenge of Meta Knight stage for Halberd. I have barely played the Great Cave Offensive in either version of Superstar, even including the fact that I have played it, like, recently, because I did a replay through of Superstar Ultra. So, yeah, top of D for me.
Yeah, not really sure what else I could say about the stage other than I definitely have said my opinions on chaotic stages, but with this one, it's just straight up madness. Like so many places, so many freaking, like, it's like it practically feels like a maze with so much lava everywhere. It's super easy to die. Like, the only thing I can kind of find some fun out of it is just like sitting in the minecart and just watching me go across the screen as I just bash into the wall. But that's saying something if I'm saying that's the most fun I have out of this stage. It's because I kind of feel like just the matches are over really quickly, kind of like on the same level as some other stages I probably should have mentioned about beforehand. But in terms of ranking, though, I don't know whether to put bottom of D or top of F, because, like, okay, compared to the bad stages, I feel like it's not too terribly awful, but definitely not good, not even a little bit. I'll compromise with bottom of D.
Okay, so this stage is going to be kind of hard for me to explain my opinions on, but I will try my best. So, yes, I do agree this stage is not very good. But it's, like Jordan said, it's kind of crazy, and, like, it's so chaotic and stuff, and if you get like 100% on the fire spikes or whatever, you'll literally die instantly. And it's kind of a huge stage. I mean, like Alex says, like the biggest stage in Smash Bros. History, or at least one of them. I'm not sure if it actually is or not, but it's just kind of annoying to fight on, like, a lot. Like literally everywhere, or at least to me it is. No matter where I go, it's just like there's lava like literally everywhere, and if I'm not careful, I would literally burn out like very quickly and lose the stock pretty quickly as well. So I guess I know I want to give it an F tier, but I don't generally think it's like the worst stage ever, like some people say it is, but at the same time, it's really, like, not even close to an S tier either. Like, not even close. So, I'm just gonna put it at the very, very top of F tier. Like, very close to the D tier, but it just gets really annoying to fight on, and especially with the fire, so... Yeah, I would say probably the best F tier of the all so far, in my opinion.
I want to like and hate this stage, but I don't know. I feel like I actually like this one. Now, while I do like larger stages, I don't typically like massive stages like this one. But I feel like this stage fixes all the problems I usually have with big stages. Well, there's a lot of spots you can go to, and most of them are underground. They have the insta-kill lava and spikes that fix the issue of just being able to camp at the bottom and survive at like 500 HP. Well, there are some spots, like I think there's some spikes on the right side, right next to some lava that you can easily combo people into and keep them stuck there. Just as long as you don't exploit that and try and have a fair match, it's actually a very fun stage. But yeah, it certainly has too many problems to put it in A, but I'm personally going to put it middle C.
Okay, interesting.
Because I actually do like this stage quite a bit.
I think I'll just keep it at the top of D to average it for the time being. Alright, our next stage to talk about is Kalos Pokemon League, or as I personally like been pronouncing it for like my whole life, Kalos Pokemon League. I don't know, I played this stage a decent number of times, but I still kind of find it a little bit forgettable. Not terrible, but in my opinion, not amazing either. First and foremost, the idea behind the stage is kind of like the Pokemon stadiums, where it changes between 4 different types of hazards. In this stage's case, it randomly cycles through chambers of dragon, fire, steel, and water, which, fun fact, that was boosted by Jordan telling us in the B-roll. These types are actually derived from the Elite Four from Pokemon X and Y. Anyway, so for each individual chamber, the dragon one has a giant dragon statue that shoots at you. The fire chamber has flames with platforms on them, as well as flames coming from the bottom blast zones on the left and right sometimes. The steel chamber has a pair of swords that drop down that you can hit into the floor to make a metal pool. And the water chamber has some ramps that show up to let a stream of water down, as well as a couple of platforms to keep yourself from getting washed away. Now, each hazard type, or chamber I guess, will sometimes come with a legendary Pokemon that adds an additional hazard, but honestly, I feel like the effect in the fire chamber, where Ho-Oh makes the flames rise higher, is the most common one that I've ever had in my experience. That's not to say I haven't seen the other effects, because I know I've seen the Whirlpool one from Manaphy in the water chamber before, but they just feel much more rare than Ho-Oh's effect in the fire chamber, to be honest. I'm kind of indifferent on the stage as a whole. I think the only thing that drags it down for me, for the most part, is that the main platform for the stage is a little bit smaller than I would have liked it. I think I'm going to give this one a B tier, probably a little bit higher than middle.
Okay, one, it does kind of impress me how X and Y was able to get 2 stages put into the game. Right, I mean, I guess with the huge success X and Y was, so I guess it shouldn't surprise me. But I definitely feel like, honestly, of all the different Pokemon leagues they could have taken from, I feel like this one was definitely probably the best one that could have worked on the stage. I mean, like, you simply take like the aesthetic, like you take the introductions that each of the Elite Four members have in their rooms and just simply make them the stages, or like the transformations and the stage hazards. Like, literally, that was actually really perfect. Because, I mean, like, because literally all the stage hazards that happen in here are literally pretty much identical to how they were introduced to in the game. Like, the swords come down, or the fire pillars shoot up, or the water fills up the room, or the dragon statue comes to life. Like, honestly, definitely really impresses me. Like, I feel like, yeah, with some of them, they're not as dangerous as some of them really are. Like, I feel like the water one's not too bad. The dragon one, like, yeah, I think I did have a bit of a mishap on this clip, or at least at some point I did. But even then, it's not that common to happen. The steel one, I'd say it is pretty even for the most part, but I will admit the fire one is kind of chaotic at times. In terms of the ranking, I'm gonna give it an A tier, honestly. I do feel like of the Elite Fours to take from every game, I feel like this one was definitely the best one they could have taken, especially from at the time. Like, for a pretty underwhelming Elite Four in X and Y, they definitely made for a pretty good stage in Smash Bros.
Yeah, this stage is really forgettable to me. Like, I don't remember the stage even exists, like at all. The stage is actually kind of too small, like Alex said, for my liking. I feel like it's only meant for like 2 players and not really 4 players. Maybe 3, like, maximum, but definitely not 4 players in my opinion. I don't know, I find the stage like really annoying to play on, especially, I think this is the stage where the fire like shoots up like over and over again, and it kind of gets annoying, especially if it has high % damage. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it, and of course it's from Pokemon, and I'm not a fan of Pokemon. Just C tier.
Yeah, I can see how the Switch stage would be forgettable to some, but I don't know. I feel like this is always one of my favorite stages to fight on. Not just as a Pokemon fan, but like the flat tower-like platform just works so well as like a Coliseum platform. I don't know. I just always like the whole aesthetic of it. And yeah, shifting between the 4 Elite Four rooms is a really cool idea. And while some of them can be annoying, like the water one, especially if you get caught off guard, you're just dead. The steel one can be annoying just because it turns you metal, and when you're metal, you're almost impossible to kill. But I don't know, I feel like what Jordan said, this is definitely the best Elite Four to pick as a stage to use. I don't know, I just feel like the stage is really good. I'd put it in top B, bottom A.
Yeah, this one... I'll put it between Peach's Castle and Yoshi's Island Melee. Alright, next stage we're talking about is Colosseum. This is yet another forgettable Fire Emblem stage. Right from the get-go, I think I'm going to have to give this one lower C. There's nothing much to talk about other than the fact that it's another literal rectangle stage, but worse because of the platforms that show up randomly, but also, and more importantly, the tiny as hell blast zones. Like, seriously, I literally, like, a minute at least, or at most or something, into the B-roll recording is when I just like kind of accidentally like got screwed by the blast zone because I was just like was kind of testing that, and then Prism kind of almost found that out not long after. I think what bugs me the most about the stage is it's just and it's a personal nitpick, is the fact that I'm more used to the Roman amphitheater name of the Colosseum spelling, which is Colesseum, which it's nothing against Fire Emblem or Colosseums in general. That's just it's just a personal nitpick for me. I don't know, like this stage in Arena Ferox from 3DS are one of the most forgettable stages in Ultimate that come from either versions of Smash 4. So I'm giving Colosseum a lower C.
Not really much I could say about it. I do feel like it is fine to fight on. I mean, it is kind of a flat stage, so... I forgot, was this one the one where we thought that the blast zones were kind of too small?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I guess that could be kind of an issue. I really don't know what much I could say. I mean, other than it does remind me of Rome, so I do think that's kind of cool. But, yeah, I guess it's C tier. Again, I'm not really much I could say about this stage.
Yeah, pretty forgettable stage. That I don't really have much to say on it. It's just like an incredibly forgettable stage. There's really nothing interesting happening in it. Although Jordan did say it kind of looks like the Colosseum in Rome. I kind of agree. It kind of does because I want to go to Italy in my life, and I've seen Colosseum like on TV or like internet and all that stuff. That's all I have to say about it. So I'm just moving on. C tier.
I don't know. The stage, like a Colosseum stage, could have been so cool, but they just. I don't know what they were smoking when they were making the stage, because it is awful. Like, the idea of platforms rising up out of the ground to make different arrangements in the stage sounds like a cool idea, but I don't know, they suck so bad on a stage. Also, despite how big the Colosseum looks, it is, like, one of the smallest stages in Smash Bros. Like, not only are the blast zones so small that, like, the second the last pixel of yourself walks off screen, you're dead, but just there's like no space at all to fight on, even though it's super open. Like, I feel like you can just hit someone at 30% and they're just dead from like you could be on the right side of the stage, you hit them left, they're at 30% and they're just dead. I don't know. This stage, I just feel like is one of the worst to fight on. So I'm putting it in, honestly, bottom D.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Like, and I don't know what the lore is behind this stage, like, for Fire Emblem's sake, but like maybe I should have done some research on this stage on like where exactly it comes from, but like I don't think that would have helped the stage much at all. So we're just gonna pretend the stage does not exist anymore, I guess. Alright. Next up, we have Flat Zone X. This is a very interesting one to talk about, to be honest. The main gimmick of the stage is that it cycles between a handful of different Game & Watch games. One of those Game & Watch games is actually the one that's for the original Flat Zone stage from Melee, which is why the stage is called Flat Zone X and not Flat Zone 3, because it's literally just Flat Zone 2 from Brawl, but with the Melee Flat Zone on top of the stages that it cycled between originally. Now, I don't know if this is the stage's fault or just the original source material's fault, but the hazards that come with some of the games can definitely ruin someone's experience on it. Like, the assholes at the gas station are the stupid guards with the cages, but I think to some, worse than the hazards is the fact that the stage itself is on the smaller side, with blast zones that are just as bad as Dreamland GB. And unfortunately, Prism found that out the hard way through his skill issue in the B-roll. I feel like from an objective standpoint, the flat zones in general should be worse than Dreamland GB, but to be honest, I've never really hated any of the flat zones at all, so I'm giving this one a lower C.
I feel like the stage on 3DS was kind of... I don't remember if it was kind of... I think it was more fun when my opponents got wrecked by the stages, but not really fun when I got wrecked by them. So for this one, I mean, it's a basic idea. I do like it enough. I do feel like it's interesting. I mean, I feel like the main problem is I do wish if this stage was a bit bigger and it wasn't so easy to get KO'd. Because I especially remember the one with the freaking 2 chair dudes. Like, you could just keep getting, like, ping-pong back and forth. It's just freaking annoying sometimes.
Yeah, those guards can be obnoxious a lot.
I guess I'll give it top of C, since I do like the idea, but I feel like it could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, this stage, I can understand why some people may like the stage because chaos and stuff, but I don't know, I'm not really the biggest fan of the stage. Like, okay, like, don't get me wrong, I don't hate it like some other stages I do that I don't like chaotic, like the Mario Circuit stage that we talked about earlier, but at the same time, I feel like you could just get KO like very quickly and all that stuff, and it's just, and I'm not a fan that stages that make you like get KO like very quickly, which is why to me this is one of those stages that does that a lot, and like maybe I'm not good at the stage, but it's just like it still gets on my nerves every time and just makes me not want to play the stage ever again. Like I said, I don't hate the stage, but like George said, it could have been like so much better. So I'm gonna give it a low C tier.
Yeah, I hate the stage. Not just because I died really quick, but it's just very poorly designed. Like Alex said, it's similar to the Dreamland stage, how the blast zones are like right on top of you. So like, that's the same issue as Coliseum. Like, you can die at 20% from getting launched across the stage. Also, the stupid freaking Game & Watch frame on top of you, like, I always hate it when 2D games put stuff on top of the screen to block you. Like, I'm trying to see what I'm doing. Stop blocking the screen. Just, I don't know, annoyance I have. And plus, it covers, like, most of the edges of the screen, which are, you're gonna try and save yourself from, so it doesn't help that you can't see there. I don't know. Also, the hazards are honestly very hard to tell when they're active, because they go from light gray to dark gray, and it's not always clear when they're shifting. It's like, I feel like half the time I'm standing on top of a hazard I don't even know is active and just get killed from it. I don't know. This stage is just... There's so many issues with this stage. The same 2 people that made Coliseum made this stage. F.
Okay, I don't think that's true.
Or it feels that way.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, like...
skill issue, I call it bad game design.
Anyway, our next stage to talk about is one of the most controversial stages in Smash Brothers history. This is Palutena's Temple. Now, first and foremost, let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. The Palutena's Guidance is one of the best Easter eggs to come from any of the stages in the Smash Bros. Series. And unlike Snake's Coda calls in Shadow Moses Island, Pit and the gang have a conversation about all of the fighters, even having new conversations for characters that have changed in Smash 4, and the characters that were DLC in Smash 4, though I think it's funny that for all the DLC fighters of this game that aren't Piranha Plant, they use the same conversation from Smash 4. And it's also cool how some other characters can appear to talk for specific ones, like Alucard for one or both of the Belmonts, or Dark Pit in the conversation about him. Like, all of that is absolutely fantastic. But for as amazing as Palutena's Guidances are, that's literally the only good thing about this stage to me, because everything else about the stage makes me mad. I hate the stage layout, probably more than Great Cave Offensives. I hate that it has the gyroplane problem where some of the platforms in the lower half are freaking tiny. I hate that the bridge at the top can be broken and you can fall down to the lower area. I hate the random smaller fighting arena that can show up on the top left of the stage sometimes. Just in the nature, it's just adding more to an already complicated stage layout. And I hate the area in the lower left of the stage because it feels like a Smash Run area that shouldn't be in a normal stage. Like, there's just so much I dislike about this stage that if it weren't for the guidances, this would be ranked right above 75M and F tier. Like, honestly. But as it stands, with the guidances hard carrying this stage, I'm putting it at the bottom of D tier and nothing higher.
Yeah, honestly, Alex, I feel completely in my opinion, you may have been being a little bit too harsh on this. Because honestly, although yes, I can see how people don't like this stage because of how big it is. But here's the thing you gotta understand. With the amount of players that could be on one stage, they had to make some stages much bigger than the others to be able to accommodate for that. Otherwise, it'd be like, I don't know, 10 Minecraft players on 4 blocks in the sky. Like, would not be enough. It'd be really hard to try and maintain. Anyway, that knowledge out of the way. I don't know, I just find the stage really pretty. Like, again, I do really like the locations and areas in Kid Icarus. So, of course, I do feel like Politea's Temple is definitely just one of those, I feel like another one of those, really interesting stages to bring into. Okay, I guess I know I'm gonna say a lot of similar things like how I did with the friggin' Metal Gear stage, but, yep, I will agree, the Politea's Genesis is definitely what makes you like the stage so much. Just, again, that kind of reference, really cool, and especially since how this one actually has for every fighter, well, at least every fighter that isn't the DLC fighters. I honestly think that's really cool, and I feel like all their interactions, I don't know, just very entertaining stuff in my opinion. Not sure what else I could say, other than just, I feel like, again, another really great reference to Clued In. So in terms of ranking though, probably the same one that I put the Metal Gear stage in, probably bottom of best for me, just purely for the reference alone.
Yeah, honestly, this stage kind of sucks. Like, I don't hate it compared to some other people do, but it's really not that good. Like, yeah, the stage is, way too big, and it's, super annoying to deal with. Especially, if one character's, at the very bottom left and you're all the way at the way top, it gets really annoying on, the player, and that you have to, go all the way down, or to just find a way to escape it, over and over again. I'm not 100% sure if this is accurate or not, but I feel like the stage was more for 8 players, because, of how big the layout is. But even if it's 8 players, I still think the stage is kind of pretty bad. I don't think the offensive stage, yes, as much as that one has flaws, I will admit I do kind of find it more fun than this one, but this one, I just don't find it fun at all. Easily, the worst stage, in Super Smash Bros. Wii U, in my opinion, so F tier. It's just pretty bad.
Yeah, this stage, I really do not like it. First to get the Politea's guidance out of the way, how many people even know how to do that? It's the most hidden thing you could ever do. Does Smash Bros. Even tell you how to do it? Genuinely, does it tell you how to pull it off?
Maybe in one of the random tips that you can randomly get before you fight a stage, but even then, if it does show up, it's super rare.
I swear I've tried to do it multiple times. I've never gotten it to work.
To answer the question though, how you're supposed to activate it for both the guidance and the codec, you literally have to do Snake or Pit's down taunt for exactly 1 frame and not get hit by an opponent in the time that you're supposed to take to activate it.
Okay, so even the developers wanted to hide it because they thought it was bad. Okay, no. Seriously, why not make it more accessible? Considering how much work went into making the guidance, why make it so freaking complicated to access? Doesn't Smash Ultimate run in 60 FPS or 30? It's just ridiculously hard to pull off something. You could have the greatest freaking Easter egg in the world on the worst stage ever, and that's not gonna redeem it. The stage is still trash no matter how you look at it. I get what Jordan said, how there has to be stages for 8-player Smash, but at least you can try and make them good. Great Cave Offensive, while it's not the best stage, at least it's has redeeming qualities. Like, this stage feels like they just took 3 completely separate ones and mashed them together and didn't give it any thought in how they connected. Like, just go back and look at, like, the developers need to go back and look at the stage one more time and fix it if they can even find something to fix. Like, this one is down there with 75M, I'm gonna be honest. Not as bad as that, but it's close. Just put it in F with 75M.
Fine, I'll admit, maybe I was praising it too much, but I still don't think it's as bad as 75M. I'm just gonna make that clear.
Not that bad, but it's awfully freaking close.
Like I said, if it wasn't for Palutina's guidance, it would be next to 75M for me.
Okay, you know what? Fine. B tier. That's all. End of it. I'm done.
Also, I feel like the stage is kind of ugly, I'm gonna be honest.
Ugly.
Like, not bad, but it's like just not unique. It's just generic temple.
Alright, I think we're all clear to move on from this stupid freaking stage. So let's move on to...
Move on.
Okay, thanks for interrupting me, jackass. We are now moving on to... we are now moving on to Gamer, the titular mode that hails from Game & Wario. Now, first and foremost, I do not have Game & Wario, but I do have WarioWare Gold, which basically has the gamer mode fully intact. Considering the fact that it literally is a fighting stage version of that mode in Game & Wario, and having seen the mode from videos in Game & Wario on top of that, I can say that they captured the energy of that mode quite well for this stage. The set pieces on the table to block 5 volts vision actually differ each time you play this stage, which is interesting. Because I know there is a, like a drawing board or something like that that can cycle between different sheets of paper that have some of the WarioWare characters on it. And I think also sometimes 5 volt can appear out of that. I'm not fully confident on saying that. Honestly, much like some of the other stages in this game, your enjoyment of this stage literally depends on whether you played the gamer mode and enjoyed it or not, because otherwise this could pass off as a normal stage with an annoying gimmick. That's not to say I don't like 5 volt making everybody nervous or terrified of getting caught by her when fighting, because I personally think it's kind of funny. And yes, that includes when I'm the one getting caught by 5 volts vision. And obviously it's not the most practical for fighting, but I still enjoy this one a bit from time to time, so I give it a high B.
I do honestly find this one to be quite fun. Like, I do like, I mean, one, the layout is just fine. I feel like it definitely works. I mean, yeah, I guess there is that one section, there is that one spot in the corner where you can cut, where it's not, like, able to jump through it, but I feel like that's not too big of a hindrance. In terms of the stage hazard itself, it's always I do always find it quite fun to try to avoid taking that much damage, plus it's just fun to try and throw people into it. And plus I'd say it's like, you know what? It's basically like the gimmick of freaking North Fair, but except I'm sure more socially acceptable. So you know what?
Socially acceptable.
Yes. And yes, I'm gonna call you out for that.
No. It's not that. Like, I understand I'm being called out here. It's just the fact that you specifically described it as socially acceptable is what I find funny.
You know what? I'm putting it in S. I know this probably sounds like a bit much, but I don't know. I'm guessing WarioWare stages are just that good, apparently.
Yeah, I actually really like this stage a lot. Even though I'm like not very good at like WarioWare stages compared to like other people, but compared to the last WarioWare stage that where I said I was like completely cursed, I actually like this one better, even if I'm like not very good at it. I don't know, I just like it better, and I always enjoy it, even if I do get destroyed a lot. I also do like the characters in the background, like you hear like noises and you're like, oh crap, is it the mom, is it someone else? Then you open the door and it's like, well, the door opens in the background, I meant to say, but
it's a cat.
Yep. Just a cat. And then after a little bit, you see the mom like either outside or at the door. And I said this in like in the B footage, so the audience doesn't notice. But I said like over and over again when the mom pops out, I said, "Can't you want Logan?" I don't know. This stage is actually really fun and like kind of memorable, and maybe because it's just my lungs being destroyed from that is why I actually kind of have bias for the stage. I'm gonna put it in low S tier, close to A tier, but like I said, because I just like to destroy my lungs there, at the low S tier.
Yeah, this stage is really good. Some of the platforms can be a little annoying to get around. I feel like the mom coming in really is just such a fun gimmick that it really makes the stage. I don't know, it's just, I feel like this one's just always fun to fight on. Also, I like how she can come out and actually like walk around as she's doing it for like an ultimate attempt, or like ultimate final attack.
She did almost 3 times in a row to us.
Oh yeah, in the B-roll she did like 3 times. I don't know, this stage is just really good. Yeah, why are all the WarioWare stages so good? I'm gonna put this in S tier.
You know what? Having recollected or re-articulated my thoughts and also hearing what you guys have to say, I now realize that like the stuff I talked about for why I like this stage, or I guess like I don't even know if I like had any things that like disliked it. Like I don't think the stage is like terrible by any means, and honestly, like I do kind of like it too. And yeah, I'm putting it above WarioWare Inc. actually. I think in the normal circumstance, I think I would prefer WarioWare Inc. like in the long run, if it was my personal ranking. But I think collectively, I'm satisfied with having it above WarioWare Inc.
Yeah, I personally prefer WarioWare Inc. more, but this one is also really good.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we have a stage that, while not terrible, is still relatively boring and forgettable. This is Garden of Hope. And much like its Pikmin brethren, Distant Planet, there's barely anything to say about this stage, because the only things that I can remember are some of the set pieces can break if you attack them enough, and that some Pikmin can go to fix them. Also, some enemy that I don't know the name of can show up to walk across the stage and cause some damage. And also, a couple platforms held up by rope are there on the left and right side of the pits area of the stage, the blasting areas, I guess. Are there for extra stage coverage or something like that. Like, I don't know, like, even, like, after all this time, I barely remember Garden of Hope ever. Even if I'm, like, trying to, like, articulate, like, what stages were originally from Smash Wii U, including the new ones in that one that weren't brought back in Ultimate. Like, Garden of Hope just gets swept under the rug, just like Distant Planet. I'm giving this one a low C. I think I kind of like it more than Distant Planet, but that's not saying much. I really don't care for this stage.
To be honest, I actually like this one a bit more than the other one, honestly. I do feel like this one's a bit more pleasant. I feel like it's a way more better to fight on. Yes, it has a little slope problem again, but I feel like it's not too big of an issue. Plus, I do like how you get, like, the Pikmin build stuff and then you could just destroy it and then they'll keep building it again. I feel like that crab thing that comes by isn't really that big of a hindrance in my opinion. Or what else I could say? I mean, honestly, I do just like it. I do, like, yeah, I understand your opinion about it, how just not that interesting, but then again, I do like it a lot more than the other one in my opinion. It just looks a lot more pleasant. In terms of placement though, I don't remember, where did I put the previous one before?
I don't freaking remember.
I'll put it top of B.
Yeah, this stage is pretty forgettable. For the stage that is called Gardens of Hopes, it's really not that hopeful. I know that kind of sounds dark and kind of mean to say, but... Sorry, I just had to say that, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't have much to say about the stage. It's boring, it's forgettable. The visuals are cool, admittedly, but yeah, that's all I have to say. C tier, moving on.
Yeah, this is one of the most forgettable Smash stages, I feel. The layout is actually fine. I don't really have a problem with it, but I don't know. It's just boring. I'd put it in C, or bottom C.
I think I'll average it just above. Wait, what the hell? Hello, did I not move it? Frick. Okay, there it is. My mouse has been kind of acting up lately. I don't know why, but like for all this, the moving the stages around, it was not. I did not like. My mouse didn't have a thing where it just like let go of the thing that I was holding down on its own. So I just lost track of a Distant Planet there for a sec. Sorry, but I think I'm gonna give this the the second highest, or no, third highest, no, third lowest C tier, and we're leaving it at that. And now that we are halfway through the stages to rank in this video, not so much the time, because I have noticed that for the past few videos that the halfway mark for the stages does not line up with the videos. We are now talking about Town and City. This stage is basically just the sequel to Smashville, if I'm being honest. Like, it's literally just that, and to be honest, it's only a tiny bit better than it. The main stage platform is a bit bigger than Smashville's, I think. I don't know if it actually is true, but it feels that way. Other than that, aside from the fact that the stage kind of like transitions back and forth from the titular Town and City, there isn't really much to say about it because it kind of is another Battlefield clone without actually being Battlefield. It is different enough for both areas the stage can be in where it's not a direct clone, and I like the background aesthetics of both of the areas more than I do Smashville's. I think the green background is much more appealing to the eyes than just the simple tans, or the more tans, I guess. Not that it mattered for either case, because I think when we did the B-roll for Smashville, it was also at nighttime, just like it was for Town and City. Not much else for me to say, so I give it high C, but directly above its predecessor, Smashville.
Okay, question before I start talking. Which one is Smashville?
Smashville was it was the Animal Crossing one. This is basically the same thing.
Okay, I didn't even realize these are different things. So wait, what was the difference?
I could not tell you.
I guess same ranking. I don't really remember the difference. Same ranking as I did for Smashville.
Whatever that was, so yeah.
I don't know, probably same. I might be wrong though.
Yeah, this stage is slightly better than Smashville, I guess. Do I get to say welcome to Smashville 2.0?
No.
Okay, I'm obviously joking on that. Alright, I don't have much to say about it. It is better than Smashville. It's just kind of boring and forgettable, kind of like Smashville itself. I have a question. Isn't this thing bigger than Smashville? I don't remember. Or is it the same size?
That's what I was thinking. I wasn't like... Again, I'm not fully confident on that, but I feel like the main platform just barely is.
Yeah, just barely. But there's really not much of a difference. And honestly, to me, it just kind of feels the exact same as Smashville. I mean, I don't know if it came from the same stuff or not, but I'm not familiar with half of these stuff. So, yeah, I'm just going to throw it in C tier and move on.
Yeah, this one's basically just a copy of Smashville with like a few tweaks, but I don't know, it's basically the same thing. Just put it next to Smashville.
Alright. Yeah, honestly, considering like how similar Town and City is to Smashville, like not only is there like it's hard to like really like make any points to differentiate it in terms of like ranking it, but again, like one of the higher points I can give is that again the greenery background aesthetic, because well, green's more of my favorite color than tan will ever be. That's for sure. Anyway, I think we're in a collective agreement. Actually, all three of the Animal Crossings are literally next to each other. How did we manage to do that? All three of the Animal Crossing stages are right next to each other on the list. That is just incredible. Alright, anyway. Next stage we're talking about is Wii Fit Studio. So, this is another literal rectangle stage that is a walk-off and a possible blast zone abuse, with some additional platforms. The difference here in this stage is that, unlike Coliseum, the blast zones aren't as small. And in fact, that was the first thing I wanted to test when we recorded the stage. I wanted to make sure, or check how big the blast zones were. Or at least the range between when that pop-up on the screen shows up for when, oh hey, you're getting close to the blast zone, or whatever. I also think that the platforms in this stage are... the fact that they're specifically just stretched balance boards is just really, really funny. Aesthetically, I think it makes sense to have the trainer's primary location in Wii Fit be the representative location for a Wii Fit stage, because, I mean, if it was any location from, like, the different modes in Wii Fit or whatever, it still would have been fine, but given that, like, I don't think the Wii Fit trainers are in any of the other ones, I think having their training area makes sense. I do like that they have a giant mirror that reflects everything in the background. I think this is one of, if not the only stage in Smash that has a proper mirror. And I like how they just randomly have a yoga demonstration that takes over the mirror sometimes. Although, I don't know how to feel about the platforms not being the same layout after those demonstrations are over. Because I don't think I noticed that during the B-roll recording, but when I looked back at the footage of that, I did notice that the platforms were different each time. Because at first there was one platform that was higher up, and then the two middle ones were a bit lower. There was one point where there was just one single platform that was on the left, and so on and so forth. So, I'd say this stage is a forgettable one, but kind of underrated one at the same time. So I'm giving it a bottom of B.
Yeah, I guess I could also agree that this one is kind of underappreciated, since, like, I know it is just simply Wii Fit, which, mind you, I don't remember ever using Wii Fit, so I don't know if this is based off something directly from Wii Fit, other than just the atmosphere, but, you know, I feel like I like it enough. I feel like it's well proportioned. I do like how there is just a giant mirror in there, since, yeah, I don't know if there is another stage that does have that, but I especially like the details where, like, if you have the assist trophies on, Alucard won't spawn no matter what, since I think it's like the idea that vampires can't be seen in mirrors or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was a cool detail for them to put in. I think I'll give it a B tier. It's definitely a pretty decent stage to fight on, but not really anything else I can really say about it, other than just decent.
Yeah, this stage is honestly pretty underrated. I always enjoy playing on this stage a lot. Even though I've never played Wii Fit before in my life, it kind of reminds you about Get Fit on a game that it was based on that. I mean, again, I don't think I ever played it before, but I think I had a friend that had it before, if I remember correctly, but I don't remember. Yeah, it's a pretty underrated stage. It's something that gets underappreciated a lot. I always enjoy fighting on the stage. I also really like the mirror. I don't know why, I just always like that for some reason. So yeah, finally a decent stage, and the first one on the tier list in this section, then I'm going to give a B. A solid B, in fact.
I do like this stage. It's a little bland, but I feel like it fits for Wii Fit, because it's like the main studio where like the Wii Fit trainers do yoga and stuff. I do like how the platforms are balance boards. That's funny. I feel like it's actually a good enough size that you don't really have to worry about the walk-off shenanigans that other stages usually have. So I feel like top of B is good for this one.
Okay. I think I'll average it between Corneria and Spirit Pillar. Which honestly, it's kind of funny that like Prism and I basically have the same thoughts about this stage. When I think for us four in the group, him and I are probably the only ones that like have played Wii Fit. Which, as a side note, it has actually been a very long time since I did play Wii Fit, for the sole purpose of we lost our balance board or something.
Oh, hey guys, I like to say, remember how I said I had a friend of mine that also had Wii Fit? I remember seeing it. It was actually Prism, because I couldn't remember if he actually had it or not. So
I think I have like 3 copies of Wii Fit for some reason.
3, right?
Why do you have 3
I have normal Wii Fit Plus, and then
a
third one or something.
Oh.
Right. I thought you. I think both Michael and I thought you meant the original game.
Well, I do have one of the original game, probably 2. I know I have more than 1 copy of one of them.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, next up we are talking about Wrecking Crew. Honestly, I think I'm gonna give this one a high B, because much like Mario Bros, this is basically making a stage out of a game's main gameplay. Strangely though, Wrecking Crew actually was on arcade initially, just like Mario Bros, but that arcade version of Wrecking Crew was Japan exclusive, so Americans got the NES version as the first exposure to Wrecking Crew. Anyway, I honestly like the stage's execution of Wrecking Crew's gameplay. It's not really practical for fighting, but again, much like Mario Bros, I think that's kind of the point of the stage. I don't know, what can I say? I just like breaking all the stuff with the bombs. I find it interesting that they didn't go the retro approach for the stage and went for a modernized take on it. I think it makes sense for what they were going for the hazards, though I feel like if they did go with the retro vibe, the enemies of Wrecking Crew probably would have showed up as well, so I'm kind of glad they just left it at the bombs and the barrel drums. Though I find it weird that you get stuck inside a barrel drum if one from the floor above drops onto you when the floor collapses down. Although, I'm not actually sure if that is a thing that happens in Wrecking Crew, because I've played very little of the original game because of its existence as a masterpiece in Smash Wii U. I don't know if I've ever like seen any of the barrel drums in that masterpiece. Anyway, I do also like, as a side note, the fact that the stage is basically endless is kind of neat, but there actually was a way to basically complete the stage in a way in Smash Wii U. There's an event in that game where the goal is to break it down and make the top of the building fall all the way down to the bottom of the stage, basically. And bear in mind, I haven't played the event in Smash Wii U in a long time, but there are some events from that game that I remember distinctly well still. So, yeah, I give the stage a high B. Not the best for fighting, obviously, but I don't think it's terrible.
Honestly, I'm not really as big a fan with this one, since, one, it's definitely not meant to be seriously taken for, like, fighting on. I mean, the bombs can definitely be kind of annoying sometimes, I could definitely say. Especially when the ceiling keeps falling down. Oh, I think especially the ladders can sometimes be very annoying, because, like, sometimes I do use them to get to the very top, but other than that, sometimes I'll be trying to jump, but they'll just grab it to the ladder. But I think that is kind of more of a 75M problem than a Wrecking Crew problem, but still something I would consider talking about. But I mean, I do find it kind of humorous that you can get stuck in the barrels as they follow you, but honestly, you're really not going to really notice that most of the time, since it's not very common that you're going to be standing below a barrel. I mean, yeah, it does. I'm sure it happens one time in this clip, but it's still not going to be often that happens to really make a huge difference. No, and I'll give it a bottom of C tier, since it's not too terribly bad, but it definitely is kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it gives the same feeling of like when like the internet's like lagging the game. Like, it can be kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but just not really too much for me.
I'm going to wreck this goddamn building. Oh wait, wrong game. Anyway,
I'm gonna wreck it. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I don't know how I really feel about the stage, because, on one hand, I kind of do want to like it, because, it is interesting. I mean, like I just said, even though it is Wrecking Crew, it also kind of reminds me of Wreck-A Rally, even though it's not exactly the same. Maybe it's just, like, this design or something, like, the setup, but I don't know, it's just also kind of forgettable in some ways. Like, yeah, the bombs are interesting, and they explode, and surprisingly, you don't usually take damage from that, usually. I don't know that's always the case, but there's been times where I set it up all the time and I never take any damage from the bombs. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about this stage. It is interesting, like, I think it's a good one, but it's kind of more of a forgettably good. So I'm gonna put it in low B tier, close to the C tier, but not quite there.
I feel like the stage is honestly just forgettable. Yeah, it's a cool idea, the tower that like collapses and changes the way the platforms are laid out, but I feel like they could have done more with the idea. Like, I feel like all the floors are just completely flat. I wish there were like spaces in between. I know there kind of are some floors like that, but it's kind of hard to notice them, and plus they shift so fast. I don't know, I feel like the stage is kind of mid. I'd put it in C.
I think I'll just have it at the... I'll put it between Skyward and Castle Siege in the average, I guess. Which, I do understand you guys, and also agree that the stage is kind of forgettable, but I feel like I remember this one a little bit more often than some of the ones that I really deem forgettable, to be honest. Alright. Now we move on to Pilot Wings. So, this is a stage where you're literally fighting on some planes. And honestly, when I think of Pilot Wings, I think of the SNES game, and the starting area of this stage captures that perfectly. Like, that island is like perfectly flat. Like, there's textured like buildings that are just have no depth, I guess. But after the plane does a 360-degree turn, we can see Woohoo Island and Wedge Island in the distance. Which, as a side note, by the way, I thought for the longest time that it was called Crab Island for years because of Crab Rock, one of the primary locations on it, but apparently it's called Wedge Island. I found that out when doing some research. Anyway, for the longest time, I had no idea why the Pilot Wing stage would have either Woohoo Island or Wedge Island in the background as aesthetics, in addition to the SNES style 2D island that we start on. But apparently, the 3DS had a Pilot Wings Resort, where the main location of that game was Woohoo Island. Now, without context, that's not a huge deal. It would make sense for them to make a double reference to the Pilot Wings series. But with context, it does not make sense to me. Because Woohoo Island already exists as its own stage in Smash, so why the hell would they have it as a background choice for a stage whose series existed well before Woohoo Island's games did? And even outside of that bizarre choice, the stage itself is just boring, if not a little annoying. All we do is fight on a biplane and a monoplane while they take a specific flight around to Woohoo Island and back to the 2D island, and tilt a bit as they go. I guess it's nice that the top wings of the biplane are semi-solid and closer to the bottom wings compared to something like the Great Fox in the Venom stage, but that's not saying much. I think I have to give this one a low C. If it had something else from the Pilot Wing series in the background that wasn't Woohoo and Wedge Island, then it could have been a little bit higher, but as is, this one's going in low C.
Okay, with this stage, honestly, I do honestly really like the concept of it, like the idea of like fighting on the wings of a plane. I do feel like that's honestly a really cool idea. Like, okay, yes, I know some other stages do this, either good or bad, but I don't know. I mean, I do like how with the first plane, like there is 2 platforms to go on, while the other one is only just 1. At least that does add some variation of knowing what platforms are safe and which ones are not. I feel like sometimes the plane turning can kind of mess with your launching again, like I keep mentioning, but honestly, I like the concept, but yeah, I will agree. I feel like they could have done this concept for like a different stage, maybe. Like I don't know, maybe like if the background weren't just Woohoo Island being like, yeah, I will say it's definitely very similar to the other one, except you just don't go to the actual locations themselves. You just fly over them all. But I don't know. I mean, I was gonna be tempted to say they could have made this a Sky Chase stage. Not that I'm Sonic biased or anything, but in terms of ranking, I guess I'll just give it a C. Not really too strong on it, since, again, maybe they could have done the concept a little bit better, but, and again, I wouldn't say it's too terrible. Or, not change that, maybe top of C.
Yeah, I don't know how to really feel about the stage because, like Alex says, it makes sense, but also really doesn't at the same time. Now, I never played Pilot Wings, like, ever, but this stage is, like, really boring. Like, not much really interesting happens. Like, yeah, I'm a fan of planes, like, a lot. If you see my, like, travel videos and all that stuff on my channel, I don't know, this one kind of is very disappointing, like, for me as a fan of planes. The visuals are quite cool, I guess, but that's really only the positive I can really say about it. I'm just gonna put it in C tier.
I actually quite like this stage. I know that you guys are complaining about Woohoo Island being in multiple stages, but I think it's a nice choice for the background, because, like, what else would a Pilot Wing stage have done for the background? I'm pretty sure the main game is just like an airfield.
I mean, there's other Pilot Wing games that could have pulled from.
Yeah, but I think Woohoo Island is just the best choice, honestly. I do like how we fly all around the island, and the change of planes. That works well as different platforms to fight on. I don't know, I will always like the stage. I'm gonna put it in A.
Okay.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna average it in the 5th slot down from C. Anyway, speaking of Woohoo Island, that is the stage that we have right up next. Right off the gate, I'm giving this one a high A, because first and foremost, we're actually fighting on certain locations around Woohoo Island. I'm glad they did that, because given how big and detailed Woohoo Island is, I'm also glad that they made it a traveling stage specifically, and this honestly might be one of, if not my personal favorite traveling stage in Smash Bros, if I'm being honest. Now, there are several areas in Woohoo Island that we go to for fighting. We have the Frisbee Dog Park over at the Sugar Sand Beach. We have the Swaying Bridge, which I believe is close to the castle up on the higher cliff. A cruiser in the water, some rocks in the water. One of the boating gates for the power cruising, the sport, not the mode from Wii Sports Resort. Some platforms up on Maka Woohoo, the Wishing Fountain in Woohoo Town, and the Swordplay Coliseum and Talon Rock. Now, it's kind of unfortunate that Wedge Island didn't get a moment in the spotlight, but given how far out from Woohoo Island it is, it'd probably be hard for them to make that work. I think of the areas that we fight on, the Talon Rock and Maka Woohoo ones are probably my least favorite. For Talon Rock, it's because the camera has the rock focused on the left with more blast zone area space left open on the right. And for Maka Woohoo, it's because of the big gap between the platforms that lead down into the volcano. And I think that's mainly what's holding the stage back for me. There are just some minor nuisances about each area that keep it from being, like, perfect, but I do still enjoy it a lot, so I'm giving it high A.
Okay, honestly, I will say I do kind of like this stage a bit more than the previous one, since you actually do visit the locations on Woohoo Island rather than just flying over it, which... Okay, something I gotta admit, I knew both these stages existed, but I never really realized that the Pilot Wings one took place on the exact same location as Woohoo Island. I don't know why I never processed that, but anyways, I say this one's kind of like Delfino Plaza in a way. Basically just same kind of like concept of just traveling to multiple different locations from it, although frankly I don't really know the location in Woohoo Island, but I don't know, I feel like it just looks pleasant and nice to just go through the whole thing. I can't remember all the locations. I do know like the volcano works fine for the most part. Okay, basically just I'd say all locations out here are perfectly fine to fight on. So maybe I'll give it bottom of A. I'd say it's a pretty decently good stage in my opinion.
I really like this stage a lot. Not only that you could go visit all over Woohoo Town, which is very well detailed and stuff, but every place that we fight on, minus one, which I'll get to in a minute, was actually very good to fight on, and easily one of my favorite traveling stages in the entire Smash Bros. Series. The only exception, maybe Delfino Plaza, but that's a maybe. But as for now, I probably prefer this one. Yeah, I enjoy most all the locations to fight on. Most of them are pretty easy and pretty fair for the most part. The only one I hated fighting on was the volcano one because the big giant gap there, which it's like very annoying to fight on. Like I had died from the middle like several times. But other than that, I really like Woo Town and like the stage and all the locations. Again, minus that. So yeah, I'm gonna put this in S tier. In my opinion, the best one so far in the game.
Yeah, I'm with Michael on the stage. It's one of the best. I like how there's all the different locations from Woohoo Island. All of them are pretty good to fight on. There are a few that can be annoying, like the top of the volcano or the bridge. But I feel like overall the stage is just really good. I'm gonna put it in S.
Alright, bottom of S it is. I'd say I'm satisfied with that. Now, we now move on to a stage that is definitely not satisfying by any stretch of the imagination. This is Windy Hill Zone. Kind of unfortunate that Sonic got two very mediocre stages represented in Smash. Because Windy Hill Zone has the same spherical thing as Mario Galaxy does, which some, like Jordan, might believe that Lost World truly gained inspiration from Galaxy. But the difference, however, is the fact that the layout for Windy Hill is a lot worse than the Mario Galaxy stage. Now, the stage is an actual floating platform with some semi-solid platforms, a couple floating springs, or I guess they'd be closer to bumpers, and a windmill with its own platforms on each blade. And objectively, that is a bit more interesting than the layout of the Mario Galaxy stage. But putting aside the fact that Windy Hill as a location is extremely similar to Green Hill, the stage layout isn't really that good at all. The worst contender is the windmill, because you only have a fourth of it visible on the screen, like at any given point. So you have to make sure you either don't get zucked by other players from it, or that you aren't on them for too long to get sent up to your death. I know that's not too likely with how slow the windmill is, but still, it's something to keep in mind. Now, taking the fact of Windy Hill being similar to Green Hill, It doesn't help that it's probably the most memorable location from Lost World that isn't the special world. But regardless, they still should have known better to bring the stage back in Smash Ultimate with how aesthetically similar the two Sonic stages are. And I feel like the only reason they even had a Lost World stage to begin with is because the game was originally a Nintendo exclusive on both of the consoles that Smash 4 was on. But they still could have picked a better place to represent the modern Sonic games than Windy Hill. Because if I were to choose a stage to represent modern Sonic stuff, I would have picked something from Colors. Probably either one of the stages that were chosen for Generations, Tropical Resort or Planet Wisp. But as is, Windy Hill's getting a low C tier from me.
Okay, excuse me, but I am gonna rant for a bit, so just bear with me for a bit. Just for all the frickin' games to pick a Sonic stage from, you pick Sonic Lost World. Of all the stages in all the games, of all the entire series to pick a stage from, of all the frickin' ones with unique concepts and gimmicks and frickin' ideas, you pick Windy Hill from Sonic Lost World? There were so many better stages, like Chemical Plant from Sonic 2, Sky Sanctuary or Angel Island itself from Sonic 3, or frickin' Emerald Coast, City Escape, Seaside Hill, or I don't know, Kingdom Valley.
You know what? Actually,
Rooftop Run.
I think it's utterly stupid that instead of multiple Sonic characters having trophies shared between both versions of Smash 4, the 3DS version gets the exclusive trophies of characters that weren't the ones that were as trophies in Brawl, like Metal Sonic, Vector, Omega. Whereas the Wii U version, it just has the Deadly Six and the stupid woodland animals, and also Super Sonic, but that doesn't mean much. And that's it. It's so stupid. Like, why would you have, like, the Lost World trophies in favor of all the more iconic characters as trophies? Like, why?
Even if they really had to pick from Sonic, if they really had to pick a stage from Sonic Lost World of all games, couldn't they at least pick a more interesting stage? They could have brought in a more unique stage, but they bring the Windy Hill, which looks too similar to Green Hill. Rant over. In terms of the stage itself, it's pretty much fine. I just really don't like it for specifically being Windy Hill for Sonic Lost World. I mean, don't get me wrong, the music's definitely a really good one. I love the music, but that can't save it on this one. So, in terms of ranking though, Tron must D. It's not too terrible, but just I really hate it because they had so many better options. I would have preferred freaking either Rooftop Run or Tropical Resort. That would have been freaking perfect.
Yeah, I meant this stage. I almost said episode. What the hell is wrong with me? Anyway, this stage is somehow worse than the last Sonic stage. Look, I don't hate this stage, but it's like I just kind of forgot the stage even exists. Like, honestly, I never played Sonic Lost World, so maybe I don't hate it compared to like some people do, and all that stuff, but even the Sonic stage in Brawl, I thought it was a lot more interesting and fun compared to this one. This was just boring and forgettable. Like, I'm not gonna remember it even existing 5 minutes after we played it for the beef footage. So, yeah, I kind of close to hate it, but I don't think it's really the worst thing ever, and I don't think it's like deserved to be like on the top of D tier. Not quite there, but barely a C tier.
Yeah, this stage just kind of sucks. There's so many other cooler stages they could have picked. Well, I only really know the classic games. Like, how cool would it have been to have like a Chemical Plant or like Oil Ocean themed stage? That would have actually been pretty sick. For the stage itself, it's a curved stage, so good luck using projectiles. But wait, it doesn't have the same thing where the Galaxy stage does?
Yeah.
Projectiles actually curve?
Yeah, I think again, like, I think the same point as I made it earlier with Galaxy Stage, is that I think certain horizontal attacks will be affected by the curve and some will not.
Oh, okay. Well, that's better than I thought it was, because I was going to say, at least the Galaxy Stage curves projectiles. But this one still, the curve on the stage I feel is harsher than Galaxy's, or Galaxy's is just a slight curve. I feel like this one's like almost a full U shape. Plus the windmill on the right side, I feel like just, why have that? It does like nothing. I don't know, I just don't like this stage. I'm gonna put it in D.
Alright. Anyway, we now move on to Pac-Land. And honestly, This stage just makes me laugh just even wanting to talk about it, because I feel like me and Prism are probably the only two people in this group that, like, unironically think this stage is funny. I don't think it's, like, fun in, like, the strictest sense, but first and foremost, this stage is another case of playing a game inside of Smash Bros. In this case, though, we're literally playing the game, because the stage travels through the very same levels of the original Pac-Land game, where you start at Pac-Man's house, you go to the forest, you go down to the Fairy Queen, where someone can get the wing shoes, and then travel back through the mountains and back to Pac-Man's house. And obviously the point of the stage isn't to have a serious fight, and for those types of stages, this one isn't really the best of those, but I kind of just enjoy it a little bit. It's just funny. The only thing that's really holding it back is that I wish it were more zoomed out, or that the fighters were scaled down compared to the actual stage, because the stuff that can fit on the screen is admittedly too small of a visual field to really get a grasp of the stage, I guess. This one's a split between high C and low B for me. I think I'm gonna get this one a high C. I'm gonna put it underneath Wrecking Crew, I think. That's where I'm gonna put it.
Okay, I will definitely say with this stage, it does kind of suck, honestly. Okay, I think my main problem is that, or two main problems. One, the screen is way too cramped in, and second, it scrolls way too quickly. And adding a third, this freaking stage statues are a bit too much. Like, you have the water rising, you have pillars that get in the way, you have logs that fall down, you have that one spot where you get invisibility, which I didn't know about. Okay, I guess it's not really a stage hazard, but it's worth mentioning still. Again, this kind of falls in the same question of, like representing an old game. Like same thing with, like, representing Donkey Kong and representing 75N as M instead of the first stage. Like, why did they represent Pac-Land and not the maze itself from Pac-Man? Like, they did that in 3DS, and that works just fine. I honestly thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and admittedly that is another thing, is that I don't understand why they didn't bring Pac-Maze back, but if I had to guess, it'd probably because programming the power pellets and the dots functionality from the Pac-Maze stage probably would not have been, like, easy to do for Smash Ultimate compared to something like Golden Plains coins mechanic. Plus, also, I think the Pac-Maze stage might be a little bit smaller than I would have liked it. But that just might be my memory being incorrect. But anyway, continue.
Just, yeah, again, I would have preferred the maze over this. But, I mean, I'm not really sure if there's any ups I could give it. I mean, again, I felt like if the stage scrolled a bit slower, like, again, if they at least made it to where it didn't scroll as fast, I feel like then it would at least it'd be fine. Again, definitely not nearly as bad as 75M and some of the other low-tier stages in my books, but definitely not one that I like to enjoy. Although, if there's one really big positive I have to give it, at least this stage actually shows Miss Pac-Man in it. Like, seriously, why did they not put her as a freaking option to play as the actual fighter? Like, I thought that would have been easy.
Licensing issues.
At least the stage actually has her in it, so good enough. But I'm not sure where I put it, though. Either C, D, I don't know. I guess D. It's, again, not one I necessarily enjoy, but yeah, that's all I really say about it.
Yeah, I really do not like the stage, like, at all. I have the same problems with it, like what Jordan said. It's way too zoom in, and for 2 players it's really not that bad, but for 4 players I do not like the stage for 4 players. It's like one of the worst stages for that, and it scrolls way too fast. I never had fun with the stage every time I ever played it. It's just like one of the most obnoxious stages I ever played in my life. Like, there are other stages like 75M that I also think were bad, but I don't know, I just never liked this stage, like, at all. So this is easily one of my least favorite stages in this game. I hate it, like, really badly. I want to like the stage because it sounds interesting, and it's Pac-Man because, you know, the one that sort of started Nintendo, even though not exactly, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so easy F tier. I really do not like the stage.
Yeah, I'm with Alex on this stage. I actually really like it. For a serious match, it's definitely one of the worst you could pick, but out of all the stages that I'd call, like, party stages, where they're more meant to have fun, I feel like this one really hits it out of the park. Some of them kind of suck for that, but this one just does it really well. Well, there are gripes I have with it, like the screen feels a little too zoomed in. I feel like the blast zones are actually big enough that you can save yourself even if it looks like you should die. So that is one nice thing about it. Also, well, the first half of the stage is fun. I've never really liked the cliff part at the second half. I just feel like the platforms are hard to see and are way too small. But I feel like the matches usually end before you hit that second half. So it's not really that big of an issue. Honestly, it's one of my favorite stages. Like, I feel like I always have fun on it. Believe it or not, I want to put it in S.
Holy crap, that is the biggest hot take of this video.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Or
Like,
unless you're talking about like freaking North Fair.
Well, I wasn't referring to North Fair, I was referring to Palutena's Temple. Like, this is actually more of a hot take than your Palutena's Temple love, honestly.
Okay, again, I admit I may have been glazing it too much.
Well, no. It's not that. Like, you have your reasons to like this, but, like, this is freaking Pac-Land. I don't know how to average Pac-Land. I really don't. It's like, I gave it a high C. Jordan gave it, I think, low C or D? I don't remember. It was
I think I gave it D.
D. And Michael gave it F, and Prism gave it S.
I'd put it, like, middle top of B for averaging.
I think that is the average. Yeah, I think I'll just plop it right here. I think that's the exact middle of B. Now then, we only have 4 stages left, and they are actually the stages that were DLC exclusive in Smash 4. And our first one to talk about of these is Super Mario Maker. And honestly, I really like this one. This one honestly has one of the coolest ideas I've ever seen for Smash Bros. The entire stage is randomly generated when you play, which stays true to the concepts for the Mario Maker games. Now, the stage that you get when you fight may not always be of the same quality. In fact, both times we played, because the second time I just wanted to see what other generated stage we get for the stage. Both stages that we got were just absolutely boring. They were Battlefield-ass layouts. But trust me when I say that the stage can range from a sloped walk-off length stage to one that has a pipe and the semi-solid bridge platforms. Also even lava, as we can see in the thumbnail on the tier list. So, despite the RNG, this is still one of my favorite stages to come from Smash 4. Just above Duck Hunt, which I think I might have ranked at the bottom of S for me. So, yes, this means I'm giving Mario Maker an S tier. What I like the most about this stage is the fact that it cycles through all 4 of the styles from Mario Maker 1. Super Mario Bros., Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, and New Super Mario Bros. U. Now, yes, 3 of the 4 game themes are already present in Smash with their own stages, Mushroom Kingdom U, and Yoshi's Island Melee. But with Mario Maker coming out the same year as Smash 4's DLC, which I still can't believe was 10 years ago, I can't blame them for making this stage, to be honest. Another thing I like about the stage is the fact that it wasn't just a Wii U exclusive. It actually was in Smash 3DS with the other DLC stages that weren't Brawl's Pirate Ship. Back then, it probably was jarring to see the stage on the 3DS version of Smash 4 since Mario Maker was on the Wii U at first, but nowadays it's not as strange since they did make a port of Mario Maker for the 3DS a year later. I don't think there's any like real criticisms I can have for this stage, other than that some of the layouts can be annoying depending on what you end up fighting on. But since the stage layout is never ever consistent, it's hard to really say like what you like truly dislike, because it's just dependent on like what the stage layout is when you fight it. So yeah, I'm giving this one S tier, bottom of it.
I will admit this probably has one of it, probably my most favorite gimmick and sort of stuff like a Smash Bros. Stage. I mean, for one, you take Super Mario Maker and literally, basically you do the same thing to the stage like you do in Mario Maker. You make your own, you kind of make your own stage. I mean, of course you don't actually make your own stage. The point is it's like multiple different stages for every time you load it up. I don't think any other stage does it like that. At least I don't think. So yeah, I can't really, I mean, yeah, there are some slopes in some areas, but I'm not going to remember all the stages, honestly, since it's always different every time. But, and I especially like that, I think, doesn't the stage change its appearance as you play?
Yes.
more?
Yes. Like I said,
Right.
it cycles through all the games, the styles from Mario Maker 1.
Right, yeah, which, again, that's definitely a really clever concept, but I do like how, like, I'm pretty sure, like, there's some blocks you can break, and, like, I think the hand will actually come and put them back. Like, over
Oh
time.
yeah, it does. That's right. I forgot about that.
Another nice little detail that I really like about it, which, although I haven't played Mario Maker in a very long time, heck, I never got the sequel on Switch, mainly just because I don't think I have any other building ideas that I used up on the original, but... So yeah, I definitely don't blame you for liking this stage a lot, since I do think it is also a really good concept. In terms of ranking, though, you know what, I'm gonna give it an A. I can't really say anything about the layout alone, since I don't remember them all, but I'd say the fact that it can literally just change, like, it's completely, like, mostly different like, for every time you load it up, definitely makes for some variety of a singular stage. Like, unlike most stages, this one actually is a smart use of its whole, like, game gimmick, since it's Mario Maker after all.
Yeah, I really like this stage. As a Mario Maker fan, I really enjoy this stage a lot. From going from the modern Mario games to the old school Mario games that appears every once in a while. It actually is one of my favorite stages of all time. Well, actually, not all time, but it's like in the game at least. But yeah, I really enjoy this stage a lot. It's fun to fight on, and it's all cool, like nostalgia references to like older Mario games and our generation Mario games. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a. I think I'm gonna put it bottom S tier. I actually really like this stage a lot.
Yeah, this stage is one of the best. I know I've said that a few times, but the whole Mario Maker gimmick works so well with the Smash stage. Like, the whole gimmick of Mario Maker is making your own levels, so it makes sense that the stage you fight on for it is always different. I'm not sure if it's like randomly generated each time, or like there's a certain like amount of them that just get shuffled together, but it's still always a really cool idea. Well, there are some bad combinations you can get, or just boring ones like we got. It's always fun to just see what you get on the stage. Plus, I feel like the generated stage is never really bad to fight on. Like, it's just always a good stage. Honestly, I agree with the S tier for this one.
Alright. Anywhere specific for S tier for you?
Nope.
Alright.
Just anywhere in S.
Yeah, I'll just keep it bottom of S. Alright. Now, unfortunately, this is probably the only interesting DLC stage that we have left to cover, because all three of the rest of them are, well, I can't articulate my words because I don't want to spoil myself. So, first up, for our third to last stage, we have Suzaku Castle, the Resident Street Fighter stage. And literally, the only positive I can give this stage is the sunset aesthetic. Otherwise, the stage layout is kind of iffy. There is one main platform on the lower right, which, by the way, is a walk-off. And there's a couple of semi-solid platforms on the left for whatever reason. And I literally have nothing else to say about the stage, so I'm just going to give it a C and move on.
I'm not really sure where to rank it personally. Like, I don't think it's bad. I definitely feel like it's a decent stage to fight on. And I do like how there are those like little, like the detail of those little like wood things in the back where like if you hit someone like in front of it, it'll actually break the board. I do think that's a simple but interesting detail. But at the same time, yeah, I do wish there was a bit more space to fight on, since there's only one big platform that's like really close to the edge, and then there are those two smaller ones that are kind of difficult to fight on. I do think the background does look nice. I definitely do like its theming. Yeah, again, I really don't know how to rank this one. Like, it's not bad, but it's definitely peaked either. So, I don't know, either B or C for me. You know what? I'm gonna give it B, because I personally don't think it's terrible. I do find it decently fun to fight on, although, admittedly, it can be easy to get KO'd sometimes. But that's as long as you are playing fair. But of course, that shouldn't count as a criteria, because not everyone's really like that. But yeah, just B tier.
Yeah, not much of a fan of the stage either. It's just kind of forgettable. It's like one of those stages like where one side is too big to fight on, or well, actually, kind of like average size. While the other side is like way too small for sure to fight on, and it can be very annoying. And I also forgot the stage even exists. So I'm just gonna throw it in C tier and move on with my life.
Yeah, this stage is another stage that just sucks. Why have the complete middle of the stage just open and then two little platforms on the side? Like, it's just a bad choice. Like, on the left, you have 2 tiny platforms. On the right, you have 1 long platform. Like, what were they think? I could make a better Smash stage than this one. Like, it's not bad in the same way 75M is, where it's just impossible to fight on. It's just, there's so many other stages that are just better than this one. Like, not only is the stage forgettable, like, it just sucks. Honestly, I'm putting this one in F.
Damn. I think bottom of C is the average here. Alright. For our penultimate stage to cover, we have Midgar. And I'm putting this one straight into low C tier. Because this is a literal Battlefield clone. An actual Battlefield clone this time. With some Final Fantasy shenanigans. Honestly, the only hazard of the randomly spawned orb things that I can remember is the one that makes the stage split in half. I've literally never, like, noticed any of the other hazards. I barely remember any of them, even now. And I've never cared for the stage at all in general. Other than I found it funny that it only ever got 2 Final Fantasy music tracks in Smash 4 and Ultimate prior to Sephiroth joining. So, yeah, I'm putting it low C tier, and I'm just moving on again.
Honestly, okay, definitely a big change of direction, but I honestly really like this stage. Like, I feel like its background's interesting, I feel like the stage is definitely decent enough to fight on, and I do like the gimmick of, like, you collect the little light things, and then it summons creatures from Final Fantasy. I mean, I've never played the game personally, but I don't know, I just like that concept. Like, I personally don't feel like they're too overpowered, even though I'm pretty sure I did get killed by them numerous times, but not sure. I mean, it is kind of on the same level of, like, chaotic. Yeah, I know it is one of those, like, stages where it's like, you collect something and then it fights for you. Which, yeah, I guess it can be kind of overpowered at times, but I don't know. That's just kind of what makes it more fun for me, in my opinion, since it, again, there is some chaotic that I do like and some chaotic I don't like. And for me, this is some that I do like. And, like, I feel like some of them don't always hinder the fight, while some of them kind of drastically do. Anyways, in terms of ranking it, I don't know, actually. I'll give it an A tier, since, personally, I definitely do like its gimmick enough. Yeah, I guess that's all I could say. I like it enough.
Yeah, I don't remember the stage even existing at all. Like, it's one of the most forgettable stage, like, in this game. The visuals are good, I guess, but, I mean, I like the kind of stormy stuff in the background, and, I mean, I guess it's Final Fantasy, you never know what it is with them. Yeah, I don't have much to say about the stage. C tier.
Put Jordan on this one. This one's one of my favorite stages. Well, yes, it is a Battlefield clone, but it's a good one. I mean, Battlefield's already a good stage, so you might as well copy it instead of doing something unique that ends up trash, like the Suzuka Castle. Also, this one's more unique than other Battlefield clones because the stage actually changes with the summons. I like how all the stage shifts are summons you can summon in that game. Plus, it just looks cool. It's always been one of my favorite looking stages. I don't know, I just always like this stage. I'm gonna put it up in A.
Alright, I'm gonna put it a smack in the middle of B to average it. Actually, yeah, I'll put it, shadow most I can move. There we go. Alright. Now, for our last stage of the video, we have Umbra Clock Tower. So, I think between the DLC stages that aren't Mario Maker, I think this one is, like, for me, anyway, it's the best one of them. Because, well, the aesthetics of the stage are pretty cool. The idea of a stage that just falls endlessly down a cliff is really only exclusive to this stage, I think. I might be wrong about that, but also, like, the visuals of falling down the cliff, even though it has, like, kind of the same sort of lighting as in Midgar, I think because it actually changes, like, color in the lighting, I think maybe because of the time of day or something, it actually is, like, different than in Midgar. Because, like, yes, I know that in Midgar, I think the lighting can change depending on whatever orb status stuff and monster you spawn or whatever. But, like, here, at least it's, like, always there, present, no matter if you have the stage hazards on or off. Not that there aren't many stage hazards to begin with, as far as I'm concerned. Because, like, I think there's only just a couple of smaller platforms that just sometimes show up. The main clock face platform that you fight on is basically a Final Destination size, admittedly, which really only fits 2 fighters. And those smaller platforms, I honestly don't think they really add much to the stage. I don't know what the lore behind the stage is from Bayonetta, but it's kind of cool. Like, I guess I don't really like find it that boring, to be honest. I think I'm gonna just give this one the highest C.
Honestly, I do really like the appearance of it. I do feel like it definitely has, again, really cool looking appearance in my opinion. Also, agreeing with Alex where it definitely has a cool concept of just falling down, like, indefinitely. Not sure what else I could say. I could say the stage is definitely... Honestly, I do think it is definitely laid out pretty well enough, in my opinion, since... I don't know, I just say it's definitely pretty... I mean, well, yeah, it is pretty, but it is also decently good, or honestly just really good to fight on, in my opinion. And I do feel like the extra platforms are nice, although I wouldn't say very practical, but definitely nice to still have them. I'd rather have them than not. I'll give it a bottom of A, since it's definitely not, okay, like I keep saying, it's definitely not terrible, but definitely decent enough that I do like it enough.
Yeah, this stage is kind of forgettable, but I actually kind of like it at the same time, but it's really, like, not the best. I mean, the visuals of In the Moon is actually pretty cool, but, there's another stage I don't really have much to say. I like the visuals, which I think it's a positive. It's actually pretty decent to fight on. And, yeah, I'm gonna give it a very low B tier, but it was pretty close to being at top C tier.
Objectively, the stage sucks, but it just looks so cool that I can't hate it. To be critical, the platform is kind of too small for multiple players, and it's so thin, it's kind of hard to grab on the edge sometimes, but just the idea of being on, like, a falling ruins and fighting on it is just so cool. Plus, I don't think we have any other stages in any Smash game where it's, like, just constantly falling. I like how it shifts between, like, day and night through, like, the portals or whatever they are. I also really like the look of the monsters in the background. They also just look really cool. I don't know. The stage should be bad, but I really like fighting on it. I don't know. Honestly, I'm putting it in B.
Alright, the average is the exact middle of B. And thankfully for Smash Wii U's sake, thanks to the DLC stages, in fact, we're ending on a decently high note. Which honestly, thank God, because the last few videos we've been ending on somewhat of a sour note.
Yeah, so for me overall, I'm not gonna lie, half of these stages are actually kind of underwhelming. I mean, there's, for me, I consider 8 of them to be good, 10 to be mediocre, and 4 to be bad. Well, it doesn't sound the worst thing. It actually took a step back, and probably the worst one since Smash Bros. 64 of terms of ranking stages. But it's okay. Some were good, some were bad, but most of them were just okay at best in this game. We'll see how Ultimate goes.
Yeah, I could definitely say a lot of lows, I will say, but also, isn't this the most S-tier stages that we've had on the list, though?
Yeah, we have 3 S-tier rankings overall, compared to 1 for 3DS and 1 for Brawl.
Yeah, honestly, that's at least something to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how there were so many awful stages, but also quite a few good ones. Like, it's just so weird.
I definitely do agree in that, like, we definitely did have some underwhelming stages, but I think overall, this game didn't have that much of a bad showing either, compared to, just like some of the previous games. Honestly, I'm curious to see how we're going to conclude this this tier list overall. But that's going to be in 2 weeks from now, so stay tuned for that. We are almost done with this tier list, boys.
Woohoo! I'm excited to move on to other tier lists in the future.
Yeah, with one in like 3 months from now or something.
Yeah, we've been at this for a while, but we are almost there. Although, doesn't Ultimate have, like, the least amount of stages, though?
For the...
Or am I just like...
No, Smash 64, if we weren't factoring Final Destination and Battlefield, then Smash 64 would have 7, I think. Anyway, that's going to be all for this video. Thank you guys a lot for watching, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!
Yeah. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day.
Hey guys, thanks again for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, then consider leaving a like on the video and also subscribing to my channel. You should also check out the stuff my friends make. Sorry, hang on. As I was saying, you should also check out the stuff my friends make. Those being JordanDraws, Michael Game Show, Prism, and YourLocalLogo. I think you'll enjoy the stuff they make, and you might find me in some of that stuff as well. Their links to their channels or socials are in the description. And I think that's all I got, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers!